Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. I got a haircut. So, I'm going to talk about the whole Barnes & Noble Penguin Random House cluster. So, on February 3rd, an article came out stating that Penguin Random House and Barnes & Noble Fifth Avenue were teaming up to release diverse editions of classics. Now, in my mind, when I read this, like, oh man, that's so dope. Okay, cool. They're gonna have these diverse covers. The whole thing is rewritten. I wonder who wrote them. I wonder what the characters are gonna be like. What are they gonna do? How are they totally gonna make this diverse? I had to tell myself, pump the brakes. That's not what's going on here. What happened was they kept the story the same, characters and all, authors and all, and just slapped some like Native Americans, African Americans, Asians, I guess. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do with this whole, I don't get it. But they weren't changing the story at all. That's the whole thing. Like, they literally redid the covers to appear more diverse. Now, I don't know, I keep saying, like, this had to have gone through multiple people. It's not like one person presented an idea and next thing you know, it's at Barnes & Noble behind the counter. Like, there had to have been an artist, there had to have been marketing people involved in the whole rollout. Like, there was an entire team from both Penguin Random House and from Barnes & Noble. And nobody said, hey, this might not be the best approach to Black History Month. Because this is what it was all for, in the name of Black History Month. In a way to promote Black History Month. I'm not getting it. Anyway, so these diverse editions. So, that was the issue. Why is that a problem? That's a problem because that's not showing diversity at all. Like, it's literally saying, yeah, I get that there are books out there by Black people, because it's Black History Month. It's not even like, it's not Diversity Month. No offense to Native Americans or Asians or Hispanics or anything like that. Like, it's no offense. It's Black History Month. So if you're going to do something for Black History Month, you might want to include Black people. Maybe even on this whole, like, project you were going to launch. Like, talk to anybody who's Black and ask them if this is a good idea for Black History Month. They probably would have told you no. This is a problem for several reasons. One, changing the cover of any book does not change the book itself, doesn't change who wrote it, doesn't change any of the messages or anything. I don't know why anyone would ever change the cover of a book to represent something that it's not. Also, there are so many books out there written by Black people, for Black people, about Black people, that could have been promoted. I mean, I definitely have a few here, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So, they see it as, okay, this is a way to get people more involved in picking up the classics or reading the classics or whatever. I get that. Can you do that some other month? And you switch up the titles you switch up the covers every few months anyway. So these classics, I saw this in another video that someone mentioned, and this is a good point, that these authors aren't going to get paid any royalties from what Barnes & Noble does. They are, it's open domain. It's open domain. So this simply does not affect the bottom line of Barnes & Noble. However, if they are to promote people who are Black or books that are, coming out soon or whatever, they're going to have to pay more money for those. So they really missed the mark on this one by a long shot. A long shot. I have such short hair and it's blending in with my bookcase, but I don't know if I can see, like, I just have, like, no hair anymore. It's gone. I cut it off like a week ago. Oh well. From whatever research I did online, just simply Googling what is classic literature. Classic literature is a piece that's timeless, can be seen as works that are representation of the time period that it's in. So when someone goes back to read it, whether it's the next year, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years later, it can tell you about that time. It can tell you what life was like, or maybe life hasn't changed much at all. I feel like a lot of people like to say 1984, which I believe is considered a classic, is very similar to what, I haven't read it yet, shame on me, but similar to like what today would be like. Like it totally, some of the things are still relevant today. So those are considered like classic literature. So what Barnes & Noble should have done, and here I will present the solution to their diverse edition problem. If somebody walked up and was like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take Lord of the Rings, right? We're gonna take them hobbits off the front of that book. We just gonna take them off. We just gonna make them like, let's do black dwarves. That's what we're gonna do. We just gonna find, and we're gonna do real life black dwarves. So we have to photograph them, all right? Like, have several seats. Like, calm down. That makes no sense. Like, that, no sense. What Barnes & Noble should have done was one of three things, if not all three. And everyone is going around and doing one of these three things, and I think it's really awesome. Excuse me. What they should have done was present these same classics, but like retellings or reimaginings by Black authors, or preferably Black authors with Black characters, not just about Black characters, but whatever. And so of their list, they could have done, for Alice in Wonderland, they could have done A Blade So Black by L.L. McKinney. And I think L.L. McKinney did an NPR segment regarding this whole thing. So, they could have also done Destroyer by Victor LaValle. I don't know if that's how you say his last name, but I think his mother's from Uganda. Either way, that's a reimagining / retelling of Frankenstein. Like, they really could, Barnes & Noble should have done this a little differently. Also, what they could have done and should have done was present actual classic Black literature. Like, there are some pieces out there, especially from the 1920s. I mean, the Harlem Renaissance. I'm doing this whole thing on the Harlem Renaissance. I know there are no videos at this time except for my intro, but they're coming. I assure you, they're coming. And I'm going to present some books right now. So, books, they should have had, they should have just done classic Black literature. Books by Black authors from, way back when. I mean, some of the books that I would consider classics would be Your Eyes Are Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Everyone's kind of talking about her recently. This is one I picked up from the library. Apparently I didn't own this one. These are other ones that I own. I would consider Kindred by Octavia Butler. I would consider this one a classic. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to have to look these up. This is terrible. Definitely The Color Purple by Alice Walker. Sula by Toni Morrison. The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. A Raisin in the Sun by, oh, you can't see that, by Lorraine Hansberry. Raisin in the Sun. Native Son by Richard Wright. Classic. Classics right there. Honestly, put a new cover on it. Jeez Louise. Barnes & Noble messed up, man. The thing is, I really like Barnes & Noble. I love the atmosphere of their stores. I love the book selections. I love that they have, if there's a new book that's out, I know that I can get it from them. I kind of had this, like, I wouldn't say discussion or whatever, and I'm not very outspoken like that. I'm not confrontational at all. But I want to say, I guess maybe this was like a month or so ago, went to Barnes & Noble. I was looking for, I was specifically looking for books written by people from the 1920s. Could not find much. I did not get this from Barnes & Noble, but I found this in Barnes & Noble, because I'm not going to pay $23 for it. I felt it was a little silly. It's called The Portable Harlem Renaissance Reader, edited by David Levering Lewis. It's got like excerpts and stuff from various writers from the 1920s, from the Harlem Renaissance. Yep. so I went there looking for books like that, and I really couldn't find much. So I'm making my way to the back. You know, they have the little tables down the aisle or whatever. And I get back to the kids section. As soon as you get to the kids section, because I do have a son and he likes to play in the little kids area with the little trains. Anyway, as soon as you walk in that little area, they have two like shelving area, whatever, with books by people of color. And I'm like, oh, this is so great. Oh man, and I'm seeing all these different things I'd never seen before, things that are, you know, it seems very interesting. It seems really cool. So I was like, okay, dope. At least they have this like right here, and it's coming up on Black History Month. They're trying here. Then as I'm walking back up to the front, I happen to look over, and on occasion I will kind of peruse the memoir biography section. I saw like this whole section like of African American literature, and I'm just like, I didn't see this before, and I was looking like there was no like section in the fiction section. There was like no by Black authors. I didn't see any section like split, you know, like Barnes & Noble like wasn't even trying. Like when you're walking down, it's kind of like, oh hey, here's this little half shelf, and then there's like a table right there. So I walked up to the guy and I was just like, oh hey, I said, hey, don't you think like that little display, I was looking for that and I didn't see it at first. It's kind of hidden. It's kind of tucked back there. And I was like, don't you think you should put it on maybe one of these middle tables here? He goes, oh yeah, you know, it's probably temporary. Oh, you know, I mean, they're probably going to move it. But it was like a whole setup. Like, I don't think no one would set that up there for it to just be temporary. But that's just my opinion. And I read online that each Barnes & Noble location is kind of like independent in how they want to set things up. Like, they have certain guidelines, sure, but for the most part, they have more freedom in how they want to set up the store. And so knowing that, I'm just like, yeah. And for this to be a predominantly Black area, like, yeah, I'm not buying that. And it kind of bothered me a little bit, but I'm not confrontational. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Walked away. But something else that they should have done. And if you didn't want to do retellings or present actual classics, talk about some books that are coming out or that have recently come out. There are a couple of books I think that have recently come out that may become classics in the future, or that at least should be some sort of like required reading. The Pursuit of Happyness by Chris Gardner. The other, Wes Moore, obviously is written by Wes Moore. This, another timeless piece. He talks about Heavy by Kiese Laymon. He talks about so much stuff. Born a Crime, Trevor Noah. Becoming, Michelle Obama. Between the World and Me, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Push by Sapphire. A lot of people don't sleep on this. This was turned into the movie Precious. This right here. And of course, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Like, come on. They could have promoted any of these books. If they didn't want to talk about even those books, they could have even talked about newer releases that have come out. Like in the last year, these books have come out. Queenie by Candace Carty Williams. They could have mentioned Supermarket by, I think his name's Bobby Hall, aka Logic. Full Disclosure by Camryn Garrett. Another Ta-Nehisi Coates, The Water Dancer. This came out. I mean, Kingdom of Souls by Renee. Why can't I read this one? Barron. Raina. Is it Raina or Renee? Barron. Look at this cover though. Damn. Look at that. I don't think I appreciate this cover right here. I don't even think it's clear. Like, oh, freaking gorgeous. Anyway, Barnes & Noble really messed up with this one. And I really don't know how. A few days, I want to say the day of, it was supposed to happen on Wednesday, but they have since stated on Wednesday that they were canceling it, and because of the backlash, blah, blah. They used an AI to determine, like, oh, this particular book was very ambiguous about the race of the characters. So that means it could be Black, white, Asian, Native American. That's not, no. Why would you use an AI to see if the race was ambiguous when you really could have just used an AI and be like, yeah, I can't think of any black authors. Let me just use this computer to just find black authors. A simple Google would have helped you out. As a publisher, Penguin Random House, as a bookseller, Barnes & Noble, you guys have the list of knowing what books are coming out and when. Like, what books are being published, and you can simply just ask the publishers, hey, we're promoting, black authors or books by, for, and about African Americans. Like, give me a list. What book should I put on the forefront? Something. So anything but what you did. I don't know. I almost, I personally think they messed up. That sucks. And there's really no backtracking it, and to simply say like, oh, this isn't, what we were going for. Oh, this isn't representative of blah, 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 blah. Like, but you did it. Like, you totally launched it. You had like a whole like newsletter about it's going to be really, really hard to believe a publisher or a bookseller, especially those as big as Penguin and as big as Barnes & Noble, when they say, oh, we promote diversity, oh, we're all about being inclusive. Like, how when you do something like this? Like, it's like bringing your really, 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 really tan cousin to the, I can't say cookout, to the barbecue, and just saying, oh, I know someone's black, she's right here. She's not black. She's wavy hair. She's like really dark skinned. She's not black though. She's not. It's not the same. And then getting mad because we're calling you out on whatever you thought you were doing. So I'm currently reading Passing by Nella Larson. Let me tell you, this book right here, there's a line in here that I thought was pretty funny. And I'm going to end this video with this line. There's this lady, she's not trying to pretend to be white, but she's trying to pretend to be white for the sake of this situation that she's in. And she thinks that she thinks a white lady has spotted her, a black woman, in this in this place that black people aren't really welcomed. So she's a light-skinned lady who's passing as white. And she says, and by the most ridiculous means, fingernails, palms of hands, shapes of ears, teeth, and other equally silly rot. They always took her for an Italian, a Spaniard, a Mexican, or a gypsy. That kind of sucks because in this book, which was written in 1929, pretty much white people would look at her and say, oh, you don't look black. I totally believe that you're a white woman. You don't have the features of a black person, so there's no way you could be black, kind of thing. Like, you must be white, and if you're not white, you're probably Italian or something, so close enough. Mexican, as long as you're not black, you're cool. This is what Barnes & Noble and Penguin did. They don't understand the reason behind Black History Month or what it means to be an African American. This missed the mark by a long shot. Also, side note, I went to go link the original article, but it has since been updated saying it was being canceled. So you can't even find the original article. You can only find the original tweet, but not the original article. They've since edited on their website. So that's a thing.